Hi Grace,
Hiya.
long time no see.
I know, too long. How are you?
Thanks so much for coming on.
No worries.
I really wanted to get someone like you on because I wanted to show everyone that, stage school is not just for children who want to perform. So could you give us, I suppose, who you are and what your background is?
Yeah. So I'm Grace. I'm from Cork. I'm from Mallow. I've been in stage school since I was very small. Started with ballet, and then when I was in secondary school, started musical theatre and stuff. And I'm a freelance director. So moved to London 6 years ago to study. I did an MA in directing, and yeah, haven't looked back since. So 6 years, 7 years ago now, I was working at Superstars as a musical theatre teacher.
Were you
Um,
finishing college then, or were you
I was in my final year. Yeah, I was in my final year
of
of. So
a school of
I did
music?
music in UCC, and I was with you guys for my final year. Um,
And then you
and then I had
left,
to
and we
leave.
were all devastated.
Yeah, we had an amazing summer show, and then I went, oh, that's it. I have to go to London now. Okay. I think I moved like 3 weeks after we finished for the summer.
Because you had
Something like that.
brought on our students vocally like leaps and bounds. You were our first vocal coach that we had ever come in,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
true, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you really, and even you taught us so much in the time that you were there. That you were such an asset. I know you were only with us for the year, but we were like, oh no, Grace is going to London now. But we were happy you were going to London. And I think the last time I actually saw you was at Stage School's London School tour,
Yeah.
outside the Apollo Theatre, I think.
I think so. I remember being really late because I was on the tube and I was dying in case I didn't get to see you. But yeah, I think that was
You,
the last time.
so you were here, you did music, and then you taught in your last year, and then you headed off to London. So can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. So I was teaching. I was a musical theatre performer up through secondary school, and then towards the end of secondary school, got a bit of a bug for directing. I was always a little bit like I was always questioning everything when we were doing shows, and it took me a long time to realize that that's because I enjoyed looking at the text and looking at kind of why we're doing it, as opposed to just getting up on stage and doing as I was told. And then when I went to college, I got to direct we set up the Musical Theatre Society at UCC, which is still going, which is amazing. And I got to direct their first musical, Songs for a New World. And that was when I was in, I want to say third year, I think it was third year. And I was just absolutely in love. I just fell in love with directing. Got to do their musical the following year, which was Avenue Q, which is around the time I started with you guys. And just knew from then that that was it. And I was really, really fortunate that the stage schools I had like been in, I was in a few up through, gave me the opportunities to direct little bits and to lead classes, which was a big help. So then when I started with you guys, actually teaching musical theatre and getting to direct those kind of performances, and we did a fantastic Shrek medley that year, which just, was so much fun. And getting to bits of that really, really, really just kind of helped me see that that's what I needed to do. That's what like I was most passionate about. So then when I left you guys, I went to London and started applying for masters. Because I personally don't believe that you have to get third level education in this. I think you can get the experience a different way if you want to. But for me personally, having done music as my undergrad, I just wanted a little bit more drama focused education. So I ended up getting a place on a master's in a theatre. So based in a theatre, very practical, a year long kind of, we got to assist on a project, we got to work with their youth theatre, and we got to direct our own piece. And it was just the most incredible, like, eye-opening experience of how good backstage was.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's what I've been doing since. And I was really fortunate through that course. And through all the way up along, I got to help with stage management, and you got to help with costume fittings. And you don't realize at the time how much you're learning from that and how much you're taking going forward. And it's like any kind of work experience, but you pick up little bits along the way, and then suddenly you're like, oh, this makes sense. This has made
Yes.
me the director I am.
And I
now.
suppose that's that kind of practical work experience started, I presuming, in stage school.
Yeah, big time. I mean, the biggest one for me was I wasn't allowed to do a show during my exams, which now is quite a practical way to look at it. But back then was the worst thing in the world. But what I did get to do then was I got to do the stage management, because that only took a few weeks as opposed to the 6 months that I would have been in rehearsals. And I think my mom knew at the time that she wasn't getting me away from stage. Like this was going to be my life, so she might as
Yeah.
well, you know. So then I got to do stage management, and so I did that 1 year, and then the following year I loved it so much I did it on the junior show,
Yes.
just for more experience. So that was a huge thing, and getting to see it from the other side and getting to production meetings. Like my favorite thing in the world now are
Yeah.
production meetings. Like I'm awful. So I have quite a few director friends now, and I love tech. Like tech rehearsals are my favorite thing in the world. Most people will tell you they're awful, but when
Yeah,
you
I
get
would
to
say they're awful. Go on and
oh, I love them, because when you
look
get
at
to
the
see
track. Is that the
everything,
right track? Oh, that should be cut here. Sorry, that's my fault.
you need to move that spotlight two
Yeah.
centimeters to the left or else. But yeah, so that definitely started, because you got to see, and doing stage management and everything, you got to see all that happening as well. Whereas when you're on stage, you're kind of a little bit detached from it, because you're with your castmates and you're with everything. But that
Yes.
exposure to that side of it was really what sparked it in me from,
'Cause
I'd say, 15. Yeah.
yeah, because I think people look at stage schools and they think, oh, like that's for children who want to perform. But I
Yeah.
would say no. Stage school is for children who are just interested in the arts and are very creative. Because I
Yeah.
think inside then the world of a school, like you have children who are going to be more maybe writers in the end, direct. Whereas I do think you have to kind of dip your feet into all of it, and it's brilliant to do it while you're young.
I mean, I think the biggest thing I think most people, what you get from stage school is a confidence in yourself. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the ability to stand up and do a monologue. That could just be the confidence in your insight in something, and the confidence I mean, most of us stay in stage school because we love it. And it doesn't necessarily mean you love being on stage. It just means that you love the arts and you love
Yes.
all of it. And I think it's quite difficult. I think you're right. When you're a lot younger, everyone's like, oh, you go to stage school because you want to be that triple threat. You want to be the kind of everything. But it's more about exposing yourself to as much of theatre as you can,
Yeah.
and seeing what fits for you.
Yes.
Because I have to say, like, I did spend a long time as a performer, but that informs me as a director now. And that's a really
Yes.
important part of how I approach stuff, because I know what it is like to be a performer.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
I think that's really important. I think I have some students, and I say when I'm speaking to their parents about their confidence, I'm like, no, no, don't worry about her. She's quietly confident. You know what I mean? Like she's not going to be the person to be trying to go for a lead role, but she will be there in every rehearsal. If I ask her to do something, she will do it. So I'm always like, she's quietly confident and she's quietly committed. You don't have
yeah,
to be this big. And then as they get older, and as you said, at 15, you discover, oh, well, she's really interested in prop design, really interested in stage management, and you can see then. So I think it's very important to know that stage school is for everyone who's just creative and interested in the arts. And would you have any, I suppose, advice now just for maybe somebody who's thinking about directing as a career?
I would say do as many jobs as you can. I'm not even joking when I say every time I helped with costumes, or every time I helped with even something as silly as copying the script. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the more knowledge you can get about theatre as a whole, the more you can actually bring to a rehearsal. In terms of starting, read as much as you can. I was very much on the musical theatre route when I was younger, and like watched and listened to absolutely everything I can. I would advise reading plays, because it all informs each other. If you can, and I know you guys are amazing, so it will probably be fine. Can you go and watch rehearsals? A lot of people, and it's a really, really good thing in London actually, that you can email a director that you like their work or you've seen something, and ask them if you can have a coffee and a chat with them. Because one of the biggest learning experiences I've had is assisting and being an assistant director. And it's got a really bad rep sometimes because you think, oh, I'm just going to be making tea and taking notes. But if you, as many directors' rooms as you can get into, you'll always pick something up. So I would advise, if there's any rehearsals going on in the school, or if there's anything, ask, can you sit in? And if you can watch the rehearsal, see how other directors work and read as much as you can, I think would be my biggest thing.
And one last thing, because I don't want to hold you up too long, but do you think, like, people now looking at a career in the arts, and I think, when I was younger, it was very much seen as, a career in the arts. Oh, it's never going to be a stable career. Do you think, the message out there would be that there now is lots of avenues? Would you say there's lots of directing work that you come across?
Yeah, there's a lot of directors, okay, and a lot of the time it's still about the connections you make along the way and who sees your work. And going forward, it's not as simple as you fill in a job application and you get a job. It is about making those connections with people. It is about getting your work seen. But there's so many opportunities out there. I mean, the pandemic obviously has changed a lot of stuff for people, but I've started doing audio dramas. I've been working on a podcast lately and doing and everything is changing and everything is shifting. Zoom plays. I never ever thought I would ever do a Zoom play. I've now done 3 and I love them, and it's really interesting. So there's so many opportunities, and there's no one path. There's no one path for anyone, because I loved my time with you guys, and that's meant that I still teach. I still do a lot of drama teaching, and I find that just as important as my directing, because working with younger people, there's no imagination like it. There's no creativity. And there's so many different ways you can be a director. So there's a million and one opportunities if you want.
Thanks so much, Grace.
No worries. Thank
I
you for having me.
hopefully, yeah, I'll see you in the flesh at some point. Or maybe actually what I would like is to meet you again outside a theatre in London would be ideal.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
we can dream.
yes, well, hopefully. Yeah, I might see you at West End Live next summer.
Yes.
Um, thanks so much, Grace. I'll talk to you
No
soon.
worries. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.